Yeah, thank you very much, Miss Sheila. Ang dami-dami nating napulot, ano. Sana yung ating mga MSMEs na nanonood ngayon na naglista rin kayo, no. But anyway, kung hindi po ninyo nakuha, this will actually be on the Facebook of DTI e-commerce. So pwede niyo po siyang i-replay and start, kasi wala tayong slides na pinakita, but I think malinaw po kung ano yung mga sinasabi nila. Okay, they've been telling us about, creatives, about branding, about, having good shots and all. So this time, isa siguro, other than yung they're already on selling, digital marketing, we like also to find out from Wonderman Thompson. Gusto ko lang din isingit, yung ating mga slides dito sa reboot, Control Biz Reboot Now, was actually prepared by Wonderman Thompson. Yung nakita yung mga magtataho, nakita yung mga nagbebenta ng mga mga binibenta sidewalk, yung nakikita nyo mga icons dito sa ating programa, sila po ang gumawa. So at this time siguro, talk and tell us more about, branding and, the creatives. We'd like to hear from the e-commerce director, Ms. Noel, please.
Thank you, Ms. Nelly. Before I answer your question, please allow me to share 1 to 2 tips that we prepared for online selling. A lot of them have been touched already by the different platforms here with us, but I just like to harp on and add on 2 things. So first is the campaigns, no? So when you're running your own campaign, suppose that everything has been set up already, your store is ready, your images, your product descriptions all set, and now you're off to running your own campaign. So when running your own campaign, ideally, tahi siya sa current news, no? Events, holidays, or observances to give the campaign its theme. And having a theme enables brands to connect with shoppers more because there's more story to it. Hindi lang siya selling, like 50% off or tactical campaign. So it's more about really connecting to the consumers, really connecting to your audience. So check observances relevant to your audience and build a campaign around it. Meron din tayong tinatawag na platform-initiated campaigns like the likes of the platforms here that they always do yearly, like the likes of 11/11, 12/12, take advantage of these kasi these platforms put investment and efforts in driving more traffic to their sites. And makakatulong ito sa inyo to give your products more exposure. And para ma-appreciate niyo yung campaigns initiated by these platforms, I'd just like to share some figures, if I may. Last year alone, there's actually a platform that garnered 48 times more items sold and 19 times more visits for all participating brands regionally during a mega campaign such as 12/12 last year versus normal day performance. So it's interesting thing to note also na pagdating sa marketing, we need to be sensitive, no, and empathetic with our messaging to resonate and connect with our shoppers on a deeper level. You may always hear me say connecting and resonating because we always want to look at our shoppers as humans. Hindi lang, okay, potential client ko lang siya. It's really more about building relationship with them also. So great examples are the initiative drives of our partners here and the other brands out there during this challenging time that I've seen, no? So like, there has been donation drive, buy a meal drive, and even able to convert reward points for donation. So this really showcases our bayanihan spirit and touching on people's lives. So I'd like to go on to like our next tip. This is more about shoppers at core. So it's really interacting and engaging with them, encouraging social sharing. So again, as mentioned earlier by Director Nelly, the relationship with your shoppers do not end when they check out or when you finish listing your products. Kasi mauubusan din sila at kailangan din nilang bumili ulit. And when that time comes, it's important that your brand is on top of their minds. Aside from having quality products, great customer service, and exceptional fulfillment, interact and engage with them. Keep them in the loop. Be in their conversations. Kung mag-comment sila sa post niyo, respond to them. Be their friend, be an inspiration. Another thing is to encourage social sharing. As humans, we know that we need that sense of being part of a community, and we see that people love to share how their day went. Even me, I like to share how my day went on my social media. I tag my friends with interesting posts that I see online. So it would be great if keep that in mind, that you craft a great and meaningful content that your audience would want to share. So going on to the branding, if I may. So branding is really important, no? So what is really branding? It's the overall tone, look, and feel of the material, and how this is consistent with the campaign message. You would want that the shoppers or anyone who sees your marketing communications, your logo, your website, that they know it's you. It actually gives brand an identity, and with identity comes a story. And a good story is what inspires and resonates with people together as brands and consumers. So actually, the foundation of the brand is the logo, no? I just like to cite our logo as an example. So Wonder Woman Thompson's logo is actually the plus sign, but we call it as the inspiration mark because it's a symbol of growth, which communicates our mission to inspire growth for ambitious brands. So from there on the onset, you would know what we're trying to communicate. You would know our mission right there and then. So two things for secret for branding is that one, it's you need to be consistent. So consistency is key. And second is that it should resonate your identity, why you exist, why your company, why your negosyo exists. So there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Noel. Ano, ang dami, mga kaibigan, mga MSME, sana nalista nyo yung lahat. Ano? Again, inuulit ko lang, lahat ng mga sinabi nila, replay po ninyo para maisulat ninyo kung paano kayo matulungan. Now, let's look at the questions that are coming from our Q&A dito sa Zoom and later Facebook. May mga questions nandito na sagot na from Ana Dadios, nasagot na yung tanong niya. From Wen Sorioso, thank you also for sending us your question. But here's a question, siguro hingin ko lang yung sagot ng isa or dalawa lang sa ating mga panelists so we can move on to other questions. Tips on how to save in shipping cost. Sino kayong gustong sumagot nito? We just need one or two. Lazada, please. Would you like to answer the question? Tips on how to save in shipping cost? And
in terms of Lazada, no, if you're a seller,
yes.
The shipping cost is actually by default being paid by the buyer. In fact, in the recent weeks, pinababaan na namin yung rates namin. Ang minimum rates within Metro Manila, for example, ay 40 pesos na lang from dati 50 pesos. So right now, it is fixed na depending on saan yung area nyo and yung ano yung item na binibenta nyo. Now, kung ikaw ay buyer, gusto mong makatipid, meron pong mga sellers na nag-o-offer ng free shipping.
Mhm.
So on some campaigns as well, na ginagawa namin. So again, kanina na-mention yung mga campaigns na ginagawa ng mga platforms. And one of the things that a platform will do like us is doing free shipping. This is one of the ways you as a buyer can save kung gusto nyo talagang makatipid dun sa shipping fee. Ngayon, if you're a seller, you can offer this to your buyer. And then yung buyer, aabangan lang naman nila yan. So that is also one way na maka-stand out ka versus yung competition nyo. Kasi kung ikaw ang tindahan mo ay nagbebenta ng free shipping, tas yung isa na kapares lang ng binibenta ay hindi. Of course, kung ikaw ang buyer, pupunta ka dun sa hindi nagano. Pero for Lazada, one of the things that we're also developing is better and more competitive shipping rates. So I think that's my answer to the question.
Okay, thank you, Petrus. Kasi yung ating mga online selling platform naman are also helping. And we're also helping yung MSMEs, but also yung ating namang mga forwarders, so yung mga nasa logistics are also, offering maybe discounts and all that. So ang sunod natin tanong, this time, this is for Shopee. We'd like to ask si Shopee, what should we not do? What should we not do if we are starting up as an online seller? This is from Bernardo Tuangkin. Thank you for the question. Yes, from Pavan. That's for Pavan, please.
Thanks, Nelly. I think in terms of what you shouldn't do is probably focus on a category that you don't understand. So let's say there's a set of products that you are not confident on selling. I would say it's very important to do your homework. Before you build your stock, I think it's very important that you actually try and understand the category a bit more, right? Let's say, for example, you are getting into FMCG products. I think it's very important to actually go and check out the other prices that other sellers are selling for. And then try and only get into it when you're able to get a price that is competitive enough. So I think don't take very big risks in terms of stock initially if you're just about to get started. The second thing is, a platform like Shopee has a lot of features that you can actually use to your advantage. So whether it is free shipping, or whether it is a wholesale pricing. So all of these features, I think, definitely don't ignore. Make sure that you do your homework in terms of how you can better serve your customers before you get in. And I think finally, make sure that you're operationally set up well. So if you're not able to ship on time, if you have other stock issues, please try to fix all of that before you get online.
Rejoinder, this is another question. This time also for Shopee. In Shopee and sometimes Lazada, you're singled out. The thing is, as customer, there are photos that are almost similar to each other. Is this considered a norm in selling a product in Shopee and Lazada? Do you still see this a competition? How about the copyright of the photos being used? Thank you. Petrus, maybe? And then Pawan.
Well, on Lazada, no, especially for mga, in general, intellectual property rights, we are very serious about that. So if we get complaints, we do act on it ng mabilisan. We also sweep the platform for a lot of products, and we take a look at that. Now, in terms of competition, if you're selling the same item and then you have similar products, then if it looks the same, it probably is. And then we also encourage competition. So competition in terms of products, we're not restricting from anything. We have different brands, we have different items, and we're trying to mirror yung offline market. So pag punta ka sa offline, kahit may iba, sometimes matabi-tabi yan, as long as allowed naman sila to sell that and they're not violating any IPR or mga intellectual property rights of anyone else, then we allow them to sell. So it is also good for the buyer na there's competition. Kasi other sellers, for example, nata-challenge sila dahil pag-isipin natin kung magpares kami ng binibenta, of course, gusto nila mas competitive yung bibilhin nila or mas mura. So that's one of the ways also that we help the buyers and sellers compete online.
That question also goes to our partner from Shopee. Pawan, please.
Yeah, so from Shopee side, we actually have a very smart and diligent process in terms of making sure that copyright content is not actually published, and if by any chance it gets there, and you know, if the brand does reach out to us, we do work with some of the sellers and to educate them that this content is actually copyrighted, and so they can replace it with better content. But I think the advice for sellers would be that try and create your own content. So if you have products that you're selling online, that you're purchasing, and you're uploading to your listings, just make sure that you are able to take your own photos, good photos that consumers can understand your branding. So I don't think there's a reason to reuse the content, and we do monitor that.
Okay, thank you very much, Pawan. Okay, there are a lot of questions actually thrown through Facebook and even through Zoom, but we're just picking up questions that are related to online selling, the tips. Okay, this time for creative agencies, I think this is for Wonderman Thompson. For creative agencies, how much does a business need to avail of your services, or what are your tips for startup businesses? Ms. Noel, please.
I was on mute, sorry. Well, thank you for that, Ms. Nelly. If we can actually leave our contact details at the end of the webinar, and we can get in touch with the person who asked that. But in terms of like starting your own e-commerce business, it really depends on what where you get your where you get your partners, your creative partners, or like which platforms you're gonna list. Because from most of the platforms here, it's actually free to list, no? So things like that, but it's easy to even take your own photos, even to write your own descriptions and all that. It doesn't have to be costly to start your e-commerce business, but eventually, if you want to scale further, and then we can explore other things like making big campaigns for you, doing mega days for you, or like any other initiatives or efforts and partnerships that we can think of. But if you're just starting, just focus on what you're selling, why you're actually selling it, and you can communicate that to the shoppers. But again, like take advantage of the different enablers here with us that DTI has partnered with. It's very, very like it's really gonna help. Actually, that's one of our tip too, is to have a strategic partnership. No, so getting or having your business online is not it's not really going to be costly. It's actually going to be more convenient, and especially if you partner with the trusted and reliable partners here. So take advantage of the different core competencies that we have here. So we have like the likes of logistics partners, delivery partners, like the likes of the platforms here that they also offer payment solutions and delivery services. So let us do that job for you as you focus more on your expanding your assortment, focusing more on the quality of your products, focusing more on your customer service. But yeah, that's the for now.
Yes. Thank you, Noel. Thank you very much also to Raniela Marie Robles for that question. And early on, we had a question from Ezra Basto. This time, we actually heard all our panelists talking about stocks, okay, making stocks available. It's one of the requirements for you to be able to be remembered by our customers. So here's a question from Jose Palones. Thank you very much for this question. How many inventories do we have to stock in order to enroll to your company as online seller? Maybe we'd like to throw this question to Jackie of Zalora, please.
Okay, so the beauty of marketplace is that we don't actually require a minimum amount of inventory for every item. What we would recommend actually would be a wide assortment. So ibig sabihin nito, mas maganda yung dami tayong products na ino-offer versus a deep inventory, because we understand syempre yan yung normal na concern sa mga bagong sellers. Syempre, stocks nila, of course, they want to mobilize it with other platforms o di kaya sa offline nila. So for us naman, we don't actually require a minimum number. For as long as they're available, then that's fine with us. Mas maganda nga actually kung mas madaming SKUs or products lang pwede na lang i-offer.
Okay, nasa control yun ang mga MSMEs, ano? Siguro wag naman kayo benta online at magbenta online at yung stocks nyo iilan lang. Kasi the moment na may nag-order and you can't deliver, I think that will affect yung inyong relationship with the customers. Or for Selingo, okay, for Sheila, Miss Sheila, okay, ang tanong dito, how are we galing kay Maan Tejada? Question is, how are we going to ensure ourselves when times we encounter modus on the buyer's side? Okay, example, they claim they did not receive item even if we ship them. From Yes, Ms. Sheila, please.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nelly, for the question. Basically, our buyers, so basically the question is yung mga scammer where they deliver the items but they're claiming it's not been delivered to them, correct? So for us, we have actually a dedicated customer service team and operations team to validate that. If in case the consumer or the customer did the same, then definitely we will still pay the seller. And then that customer will be actually banned once proof na na-deliver naman talaga yung item.
Yes.
So at least for us to extend our, service to our customers.
Okay.
And to our sellers as well.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sheila. Okay. From FB Live, we have a question here from Noemi Gertrude. Okay. Si kanino natin bibigay itong question? Around how much percentage po ang markup ng goods sold in your online platform? Just to have an idea. Siguro quick lang. Ilan yung percentage na pinapatong ng ating mga online platform? Just to have an idea. Quick lang from Lazada. Percentage. Petrus,
Well,
please.
that is, for me, that is up to the seller. So
Okay.
how much you ilagay nyo dyan, kayo na bahala dyan. The platform will charge minimum payment fees and service fees. That's it. For Lazada, if you're a marketplace seller, if you're a corporate seller, it's 2.24%. It's inclusive of VAT already. And then if you're a corporate seller, that's a corporate seller. And then if you're individual seller, just an additional one. But in terms of margin, that is totally up to you. So again, you can play around. Pwede mong gamitin kahit anong promotional tools. It's up to you paano ka mag-strategize. At the end of the day, it's your business and we are here to help you.
Okay. So mga fees lang siya, no? May mga standard fees. Is it also true with Shopee?
Correct. So in terms of the markup, we actually leave it to the seller to decide what would be the right price for their item. At the end of the day, it's very important that the seller is able to understand their purchasing price and selling price and how to stay competitive. From our side, actually, we just charge some basic transaction fees from the platform side, which is just about 1.5%. So it's quite minimal.
Okay. Sige. Siguro mga common yun, no? Common yun among the different platforms na may mga fees lang sila and it's now left to the MSMEs magkano ba yung talagang gusto nilang ipatong doon. Okay, we'd like to throw this question to the head of Carb PH, Mr. Tom. Sabi dito, how do you change a person's or a buyer's mindset of today is not a good day to buy? People are very mindful of their spending habits ever since this COVID-19 happened. As a seller, how are we going to remove the wall? Thanks, Judith, for the question. And that's for Tom, please.
Sure. I think basic needs will be basic needs, and so regardless as to when it is, and needs is defined by every person differently. What may be essential for one might not be essential for somebody else. But I think we have to keep our confidence in our product and believe in ourselves that there is somebody who will want it and needs it at this moment. So we should not hesitate to talk about it. That being said, as a brand or as a business that exists right now within this crisis, we are all kind of hesitating whether we should market heavily or bibenta ba tayo ng todo ngayon. So I think on a platform, on a like Shopee, Lazada, Sarili, people really go there. Zilingo, Zalora, people go there to buy. So talagang, they have the intent to buy when they end there. If we're talking about social media or other channels, I think our focus should be relationships and making people love us in a way of listening to their needs and responding to those needs at this moment. Content should never stop. It's just a matter of taste and message that we have to kind of shift. I always say anyway that on social media, for example, Facebook, Instagram, we shouldn't be product pushing and we shouldn't be overselling there. We should be focusing on, I treat it like a dinner party wherein we're all in a gathering. And so you don't really sell on a gathering, but instead you kind of shake hands and say hello. And so let the conversation develop from these channels so that they get to the platform where they can transact and buy. So I will say that right now you should not hesitate in posting and selling and marketing at the moment, but at the same time the focus should be speaking to the needs that are coming out from people right now caused by this change, and building relationships. As Noel also mentioned earlier, it's key that what we wouldn't do on a face-to-face, we should just also not do on the internet. It's the same kind of behavior. So there you go. My answer is kung may binibenta ka, bentahin mo pa rin. Pero huwag ka matakot bumenta because people still need it. But i-focus mo lang yung content mo sa pag-build ng relationships and introducing yourself and getting to know your audience.
Mm-hmm. Yung connection talaga, no? Connection natin sa mga customers. So we are top of mind, and yung brand loyalty, siguro if we already have established our own brands, yun, relationship with our customers. I'd like to ask this question to Noel of Wonderman. Sabi niya dito, kasi ang interest yata ni Claire Francisco is on art, no? So any tips on selling artwork and non-essentials at this time of pandemic? Is there a way to target buyers?
Well, okay, I'm not on mute anymore. Well, there are different ways to actually list your products, such as the non-essentials now. and to sell them online. It's a very niche market also, because at the moment people are more focused on buying what they need on a day-to-day basis, especially like some places here in Manila, may mga barangay coding, di ba? So when selling your art or other non-essential items, I would suggest that you leverage on the different platforms on social media. On Facebook, actually, and Google, there's a way to target specifically those people who are interested on arts, on the different demographics of your customers. So you would know better who they are, and you can specifically target them. Just go on and explore different tools out there. There's Facebook, there's Google. So there are other ways to just talk to them directly. And of course, take advantage of existing customer base. Because those people already are your market or your customers. So just keep talking to them. Maybe art, for some people like me, I actually like to paint. It's a way for me to cope up with this whole pandemic thing that's going on. So maybe that's another way for you to connect with your consumers. Maybe throw in some art, connect with them at a different level, and just keep talking to them. And again, they're already your existing customers, so you can still touch base with them and then offer like, okay, there are other things that I have here on hand, maybe you're interested. So that's for existing customer base. And for prospecting for potential customers, you can very much well use the different platforms out there, and there's a way to actually connect to them. Just know who you're talking to. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll accommodate 2 more questions because we already are beyond the slot that are given to us. But anyway, all our the bodies of our panelists today are also starting, and they have actually started answering all the questions that you have sent through Facebook and Zoom. Okay, this time, why most, if not all, sellers from Shopee and Lazada? Okay. Question on issuance of sales invoice. Quick answer, please, from Lazada, from Petrus. Do you issue invoice? If you don't, how do we address that? I think some of our customers are also looking for cash invoices, or yes.
Yeah, for Lazada, so that's part of our policies that you should be able to issue the invoice. Now, if you don't get the invoice in the package, you can easily just message your seller and then ask for the invoice. So they should be able to send it to you either via picture or email or on the chat itself.
This is a question siguro from for Paban, because in the, when was that? Yesterday, yesterday we actually had the Bureau of Internal Revenue, where they said that those who are going online selling should have OR or invoices of their own, because they can actually register their respective Pwede nyo pong i-register nga, pwede rin kayong kumuha ng resibo, pwede rin po ninyong gamitin yung resibo na piniprint nga ng BIR. Kailangan nyo lang siyang bilhin. So I think ang issue dito is yung merchant natin o yung mga sellers pala natin, sila dapat yung may resibo. So question for Paban, do you accept sellers who do not have, invoices, or who have not yet gotten their permits and licenses from the government?
So essentially what we do is we actually educate all our sellers, right? We make sure that they're the ones that are responsible for following the BIR process, the certificate of registration. And these are already some of the requirements that we need from the sellers. But I think at the end of the day, issuing invoices, making sure all the documents are set up properly, we educate the sellers constantly. So I think these are the things that at the end of the day, we do on a very educational basis.
Okay. I'm just very happy to share that, when was that? I think with Lazada, we've already started talking about Lazada and other online platforms. We've already started talking about, making it a part of the requirement before they can be considered online sellers, for them to get, FDA licenses or certification, or maybe requiring our online sellers, the MSMEs, to also register the business. It's one of the very important discussions that we had last time. Okay, last 2 questions. How do you handle returns? What if the customer returns an item that isn't the seller's item? May we have Zalora, please, Miss Jackie? How do you handle returns?
Okay, so
Yes.
for Zalora, just to let everyone know, we do have a free 30-day returns policy from the time the customer receives the item, except for products due to hygienic purposes. So, pag mga beauty, of course, hindi pwede, for swimwear or earrings or what have you. Now, to the process, it will have to go through a quality control check. So, in our warehouse, we have a dedicated team for that. Before they return anything to the supplier or the seller, it will have to go through a quality check. So that means dapat yung packaging intact, the price tags are there, it's not abused. Ibig sabihin talaga, it's a legitimate return. And that's the only time we will return it back to the supplier or the seller.
Okay, thank you. Okay, one last question, this time from Brian Joseph Magpatok for Tom Sequoia of Carb PH. How important for SMEs to have branding? Is it more important to focus on it rather than expecting ROI? Mr. Tom, please.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to also invite Miss Noel to share the answer with me, but because they focus on branding a lot. They also focus on branding. We kind of do the same thing, except we're over here in Mindanao. Um, our principle in branding anyway is that we focus it on the we center it on the customer and the human all the time. And so when we talk about branding, it's a sum of a bunch of different parts, right? So like your logo, your identity system, your visual styling, your messaging, etc. Bringing that together creates the brand, which is the space that we occupy in our audience's mind. So I think small or big as a business, it is a key focus. But as Noel was saying earlier also, do you have to spend so much at the beginning where you are? I think you need to spend time and bandwidth on it. Money wise, you can allow the business to evolve, but prepare for the fact that the bigger the ship, the harder it is to change direction. So magiging mas mahal siya kung magre-rebrand ka after 2 years. But so kailangan mo siya isipin ngayon, but hindi naman necessary na mahal talaga siya. Pero ang isipin mo is not hindi lang siya sa itsura, but the experience that you're trying to create. So ibig sabihin, pag nag-interact yung business mo with its customer, kailangan well-defined yun para sa'yo. Kasi yun ang maaalala nila. Just like the French fries and the sundae with the golden arches. So anyway, that's my answer. Hopefully, nakatulong yun. Siguro si Ms. Noel, meron din siyang may contribute.
Yes, I agree, Tom. Thank you. It's really about that's actually one of the ways that you stand out, no? Like, for example, like when you go to a platform and type a dress, there's a lot of like options out there, right? But what really stands out is your branding. If people know who you are already and why you exist, as I've mentioned earlier, then you're able to connect more with the consumer. So when they see that, for example, again, when they type dress on a platform and then they see that, oh, this brand is here pala, then they would most likely click on your product because you've already set that tone, you've already introduced who you are, that identity. So it's really important because that's what sets you apart. Also, it's also about the creating the experience. It's really the inspiration. It's really connecting to consumers, especially now e-commerce, right? We don't really have that physical interaction with them anymore. So that's why if we can, like the most that we can is really try to connect with them on the deeper level. It's not just a product sell, it's really your story. You're selling your story and why you exist. Thank you.
Is it just me or is Direct Nelly frozen at the moment?
I think she got cut off.
Can you guys hear me?
Hi, Asek G.
Hi, Asik G. Hello.
Let me pinch it a bit for Nelly. Are we finished Maybe the line lang was cut, but thank you everybody for thank you very much for coming over. I mean coming over, yeah, but thank you for being here, no? And it's really wonderful that we have all of the tips. Now, before I think we brown out daw sa PTTC. Yan daw. Okay, sige. So brown out. So bago tayo mag-brown out, we have, I guess, the last few minutes. I'd like to sort of ask everyone in the panel to say your final tips, if you may, on if I were an SME and I would now venture into online business. That's ayan, actually, sabi nga natin, ito talaga yung gusto nating mangyari. Yung mga SMEs natin ngayon, try mong online selling. So, one round tayo. What do you think? What do you think should an SME do? Ito yung mga for Shopee, so they can understand us, no? For the non-Filipino. So, what do you think you can finally say to all our SMEs out there? Your tips for those who would want to go into internet retail. Okay, so what? Let's try with in alphabetical order. So let's try Carve PH.
Mr. Tom, si Kuya. We're back.
Kuryente, hello, you're back. May kuryente ka na. O, game. O, sige, Tom. Very
Yes.
briefly lang.
So this is for the last and final tip, right? For those who are either thinking of online selling or about to go into it, right? Look, I think it's overwhelming to think about all of it as a whole because there's so many moving parts to it. So I'll give this as an advice as to, you know, there's brand, there's platform, there's ads, there's social media, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So sometimes we don't really know where to start. This was given to me by one of my mentors before. You know, if you just really want to start, dive in where it's comfortable and where you're happy. So if it's Facebook, start there. If it's Lazada, start there. And you know, whatever you need to figure out along the way as a process, it will reveal itself and then develop it as you go. Pero ang importante ngayon is umpisahan mo, pumasok ka and dive in with eyes wide open naman. Dive in with eyes wide open. Pero umpisahan mo, hanapin mo saan ka komportable at saan ka masaya and do it there. Tapos hopefully maipagpatuloy itong project na to that we're all here para magbigay ng advice and to continue to support everybody and tell everybody depending on where they're at in their journey kung ano ang pwede nilang gawin. So there you go. I'm sure everybody on this Zoom meeting is all the panelists are more than happy to share and contribute as long as the country and the economy is advanced for all of us.
Mhm.
So in other words, wag matakot, subukan, right? Sige, let's go now. Go for it. Okay, let's go in alphabetical order. O, Lazada. Petrus!
Hello, Asik Jean.
Bigyan mo ako ng magandang quotable quote.
Ayan, ano bang magandang quotable quote? Siguro galing sa boss ko na lang.
Sige, go
sabi
ahead.
niya, think of it as an investment. So parang lahat ng investment, kailangan kung ikaw ay magbubukas ng online na tindahan, para siyang investment. It will take time, it will take some effort, but the potential is napakalaki ng potential. So again, to add to huwag kayong matakot and think of it as an investment. Kung ano po yung ipasok nyo sa negosyo na yan din po ang babalik sa inyo. So yan lang po yung akin at salamat agad. Salamat sa ulit.
Thank you, Petrus. So wag matakot, think of it as an investment. A game, Shopee. That's any wonderful message.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think first of all, to wrap up from my side, I think I really want to thank Nelly and the team and everyone from DTI, for this session to connect with the SMEs and exchange ideas in a very productive way. I think for the sellers, for those especially joining freshly, who are not aware of the Shopee policies, I think really do your research. take advantage of our free shipping program, take advantage of our live streaming features. If you have essential goods, obviously this is a great time to start selling. So I think at the end of the day, there is a little bit of risk involved going from offline to online if you have been offline primarily. But I think it is a risk worth taking, especially if you've done your homework. So please join Shopee as soon as you can.
Okay, so before that, I'd like to take this opportunity that in line with the Reboot program, Shopee and DTI, Pavan, let me do it for you. Shopee and DTI has as part of the Reboot program, together with the Bureau of Domestic Trade, in line with getting more people to on board, we have a virtual food fair under Shopee. It's on May 16 to 17, so that's a go. So we would like to say buy local products, and many of some of our SMEs have actually onboarded. So that's one of the aspects of the Reboot package. So we go to the next one. S, is it W now? Wonderman Thompson.
Yes. Hi. Thanks again, Asik Jean, for having us here, and Director Nelly and Joel Santos from Thames International. So basically, our parting words na lang would be for MSMEs that are MSMEs that are going online. Start doing it now, no? Since this is the new normal. We've seen it during this pandemic, and it's just like we're actually in the accelerated future. Everyone is going online. You can buy everything already there. Everyone's connected online. So do it. It's okay. It's okay to be overwhelmed. That's why we're here. We're doing this for you. And of course, maintain your customer base. And when you move online, you have to continue talking to them, and you have to tell them that you are also now available online, so they know. And of course, another one is to prospect new clients in the online space. So go do it. It's okay. It's okay to be overwhelmed. We are here for you. Thank you.
Diba? O, diba? So, una, you go. Think of it as an investment. Do it now. Then, Pavan, I should remember what you said. So now, let's go to W. Is it now Z? Let's go to Zalora. Jackie. Nice meeting you, Jackie, finally.
Nice meeting
And
you.
Noel, thank you
also
pala,
for
Noel.
inviting
Nice.
us. So,
Yes, actually.
A game, Jackie.
okay, so my advice is it's okay to be afraid, actually. More than that, doing it now. Definitely there might be some mistakes, but my advice is mistakes are okay. Just like in anything in life, lalo na when you start a business, lalo na pag online, bago lahat eh. So mistakes may happen, but I feel that what's more important is you learn from them, because it is a learning journey. And what's nice about e-commerce, about online, is that it's very dynamic. You can react right away. You can improve right away. So now is the best time to do it. And don't worry, because pag nag-join ka naman sa online platforms, you will have your account manager, you will have someone to help you along the way. If you have questions, just bring them in, and we would all be more than happy to help.
Okay, sa ganda na, mga quotable quotes yun but I redo the slides, so we'll get your slides right, and then when we'll push it up to Facebook, so everybody will learn. Thank you, Miss Jackie, and yes, we will do it right away, because we can change it right away anyway. So last, we go with Zilingo, a game last.
Thank you, Asik Jean, and thank you, Direct Nelly, for the opportunity and inviting us here. So basically, my advice is be a risk-taker and be courageous. Definitely in all businesses, there are a lot of things to be considered, especially in online. So wag sila matakot, and they just need to equip with proper knowledge on how to start and fare in the e-commerce industry. So again, it's a learning experience, and whatever they will be experiencing, a lot of us are there to back it up, to support. So I think that's the best thing that I can actually
Yes.
Wow. So, Miss Nelly, sorry nag-brown out ka. So, ako, okay pa kami dito. Wala kaming brown out pa dito sa
Balik
akin.
na kami. Sorry. Nakabalik.
A game for all of us who are listening. Ako, ang ganda nung mga last words and I'd like to summarize that. So, in other words, go, do it now sa mga nag-iisip po na gustong mag-online selling, nagpamuni-muni. Go, harapin natin. Ito na ang new normal. Think of it as an investment. Pero sabi nga ni Pavan, do your homework. Diba? Do your homework. Pero do it now. Wag na ho tayong magpatumpik-tumpik pa. Mistakes are okay, pero you learn from your mistakes. Parang life din yan. But ang maganda daw dito sa business ng e-commerce, you are able to react right away and then solve it right away. So ang sabi nga, ang final dahil nga yung e-commerce and you are equipped, andyan po yung mga platforms, andyan din yung maraming mga tumutulong na don't worry, including na po si DTI. No? Nandito lang ho kami kung ano po ang problema, pwede po namin kayong mabigyan ng advice at maturo po kayo kung saan po natin pwede nating i-refer no? Sa mga experts natin sa industriya. So, Miss Nelly, I will give the floor back to you. And thank you, dearest friends and dearest guests in the panel for doing a good job. We extended, but there's so many questions. And thank you to the audience in Facebook. Thank you, Miss Nelly.